Hello, welcome to our tutorial on how to create emergency lighting in DIALux. To do that, we first start with a simple interior project. We can start from the welcome screen with clicking on New Interior Project. In this case, we are using not coordinates, but we import a DWG drawing to copy room dimensions to DIALux. So we click here on OK to close the room, and on the right hand side in the guide we follow the indoor lighting guide. So we load a DWG or DXF file by clicking on that icon. A wizard appears that enables us to import easily a DWG or DXF drawing. First we have to browse for it. We will find it somewhere on our hard disk, open it, and the import is mainly done. Clicking on Next lets us select the units used in the file. In this case it's meter. We take the origin as it is and finishing the import. This is the DIALux room, and in the background we can see the DXF or DWG file. What we are going to do is we want to make a lighting design for this corridor, and we are not only going to do a regular lighting, we are also going to make an emergency lighting. So what we have to do now is we have to copy the room from the DWG file to a DIALux file. So on the right hand side in the indoor lighting guide we select edit in room geometry, and with a right click we can start to draw a polygon. The polyline that we are drawing snaps to the coordinates given in the DWG file, so it is very easy for us to create that room according to the information given in the DXF or DWG file. As you can see, the line snaps to the lines in the drawing. And to finish, just right click, close. If there's any coordinate not correct, no problem, it's easy to change it. This appears now to be correct, so we adjust the height of the room, and by clicking OK we have now copied the room to a DIALux room. Having a look in 3D, we can see what we have done now. Okay, that looks good. The room is done. As we have now created the room, we can start to create the emergency lighting. If it is the first time you're doing an emergency lighting design, I would suggest that you ask the guide to assist you here. So below indoor lighting you can go for outdoor lighting, street or road lighting, light scenes, and that's what we are now using, emergency lighting. And again, step by step we are guided through the process of making a lighting design. As the room is already done, we can now start to insert an emergency light scene. In our DIALux project we have now the project, luminaires used, the room, and within the room we have now light scenes. DIALux can handle several light scenes. The idea of using light scenes is very powerful. In former times, very often the lighting designer had to create reflection factors of 0 to define that only the direct lighting is taken into account. This of course makes no sense, because in emergency lighting case you do not paint the walls black, you just take only the direct light from the luminaires into account. And this is automatically done when you have a light scene which is set as an emergency light scene. You can give it a name, for example, emergency lighting. And in case you are working for a project in the UK, you can also include to take into account the first reflection of ceiling light according to Lighting Guide 12. Okay, so an emergency light scene is used. Next step is we can insert escape routes. Escape routes are very important for emergency lighting because we have to provide a defined level of illuminance on an escape route. Clicking on Insert Escape Routes enables us to select from a list of calculation surfaces to use those one we need, and in the moment we need the escape route. So I use it with drag and drop, and I place it in the corridor we are doing. Okay, so what do we have to do? As we can see, we have here the stairway, the door, and here we have quite a long corridor and a number of doors. So we have to make sure with our escape route that people coming out of these rooms are able to follow the corridor to reach the stairway. Okay, so first of all we take the first escape route, right click, edit escape route. The escape route starts here and it ends here, and that's it. We can make some adjustments, for example the width of the escape route. We can modify the coordinates so that they are more precise. But it is enough to copy all the values as they are given in the DWG or DXF file. Okay, clicking on OK, we have now adjusted our escape route. As we can see, this part of the corridor is not yet equipped with an escape route. So we can use another one, drag and drop, and again we have to adjust it. Right click on the escape route, edit escape route, and what we do not need anymore is, for example, this coordinate, so we can delete this point. The escape route ends at the first one and it starts here on the right hand side. Perfect. That's it. The escape routes are inserted into our drawing. Anti-panic surfaces are not necessary on escape routes, so we skip them for a while. The next step in our emergency lighting design is to select luminaires. We have to select those luminaires which are able to make an escape route lighting. So I clicked on Select Luminaires, and DIALux enables me to select from those luminaire catalogs which I've installed on my computer. In this case I go for some luminaires from this company. They have two available for me. One is for an escape route design, one is for anti-panic lighting. So we are going to use this one, and I add this product to my DIALux design. Okay, the luminaire is selected. What to do next? The idea in emergency lighting is to achieve 1 lux on the middle of the escape route. Oh, the message appears that I did not save it since a while. No problem. So what we have to achieve is, for example, 1 lux on the middle of the escape route, and we have to make sure that not less than 50% are on the sides of the escape route, and we have to make sure that the uniformity is not worse than 40:1. So how to find now the best distance of luminaires to fulfill that? It's pretty difficult if you have to make it manually, but you are using a software, so it's no big deal. Right click on an escape route and select Insert Escape Route Lighting. DIALux now helps you to find the best distance or the maximum distance while using this product. So what we can see here now in the property page is we have selected that luminaire. We can see some technical information, the light distribution curve. In the next field it's emergency lighting. These luminaires will be used for emergency lighting and only for emergency lighting. That means in a regular lighting these luminaires are switched off. Escape route lighting. Having some minimum values like E min on the center line is 1 lux, E min on the half of the width is 0.5 lux, and the uniformity is better than 40:1. DIALux calculates a distance from the wall to the first luminaire 6.37 meters, and the maximum distance from luminaire to luminaire is 14.84 meters. Okay, what would happen if the luminaires are rotated wrongly? For example, we can rotate them now for 90 degrees. As you can see, the values here are now changing, and so we have to place them in a shorter distance. But these luminaires will be correct mounted when they have a rotation of 0 degrees. That means they will be mounted along the escape route. Okay, we will place one luminaire in the band, insert, and as we can see, first luminaire, second luminaire, third luminaire. And this lighting level should be enough to light that corridor. Okay, we can place another one, or we can use the same feature for the second escape route, or we can also easily just copy and paste one of those luminaires into that escape route. So to find the same distance like on the left hand side, we can take the tape measure. The distance is 6.58 meters. Okay. Copy a line. One copy. 6.58 meters. Okay. That's it. Our emergency lighting design is done. The next step could now be to start the calculation to evaluate if we have done everything right. So let's start the calculation. And after a few seconds we will have the results. Okay, let's have a look. The 3D visualization looks quite nice. So we can also go for false color visualization. And we are now checking the illuminance level between 10 and 0 lux. And as we can see here on the floor at the escape route, it seems that we are nowhere below 1 lux. Okay. To make sure that we really have those results we need to have, let's have a look at the outprints. In the light scene, emergency lighting, we are checking for the results of the calculation. So it would be best now to check the escape routes for the results. Okay, we have two escape routes. On escape route 1, the minimum lux level is 1.49 meters and the uniformity is 1 to 14. And on escape route number 2, we have a minimum illuminance of 2.83 lux and the uniformity is 1 to 5.22. And in total, that means on all these escape routes combined, we have as a minimum 1.49 from the first, a min to max value of 0.06, and a min on the center line it's 1.72 lux. Okay, that's it. As we have now found out, we have placed those fittings in an optimum distance to make use of the minimum number of escape route lighting, and we made sure that we will fulfill all the necessary values. Okay, the emergency lighting is done. Next step is to insert the regular lighting as well. To do so, we first close the results window and we are back on our ground plan view. We are opening again the guide and we check for the next possible steps in the emergency light guide. And as we can see, after doing the calculation and checking the outputs, we have the possibility to insert an artificial light scene, which means another light scene that handles the results with the regular lighting. Going back to the project overview, we see that we have a project. In the project there's a room, and in the room we have now done one lighting situation, which is the emergency lighting situation, but in addition to that we need the regular lighting. So we just click here and insert an artificial light scene. As we can see on the left hand side, now we have a second light scene in our project. We rename it to regular lighting, and we do not check it as an emergency light scene. Okay, so in our regular lighting scene we have now to do the normal lighting. So we leave the emergency lighting guide and we are going back to the indoor lighting guide. Now we start to select those luminaires we want to use for our corridor lighting. Clicking on Select Luminaires enables us to select from the list of plugins we have installed that one we want to use. In this case, as an example, we want to use a downlight from the company Brumberg. Double-clicking the electronic catalog opens it. We are going to the downlight family and we select this smallest one they have. 1 times 18 watts. It's now used in DIALux. We can close the catalog. There's the downlight. Okay, we need 2 lines of downlights. One here, one here. Okay, so we select Insert Light Arrangement. This luminaire, 6 pieces, giving a distance of 3.16 meters. Start point should be here in the middle of the left wall, end point here in the middle of the right wall. Insert. Yes, of course, the results of the first calculation will no longer be valid. Okay, let's have a look. The round luminaires are our downlighters, the rectangular ones are the emergency lights. Okay, seems to be nice, so we need some more for the corridor here. Again, we go for a line arrangement. defining the start point. Here, the end point. Here, in this case, we go for 5 luminaires. Okay, that's it. Also these luminaires will now be inserted. Okay, let's have a closer look to what we have done. This is our ground plan view, and I click on the pin here to enable the guide to go to the site, so we have more space to see what we have done. Let's have a look. We have our corridor with 2 types of fittings. One type is in use for emergency case only, one in the regular lighting. How did we define it? We defined it with 2 different light scenes. Let's have a look. This one, that's what we call emergency lighting, is also defined as an emergency light scene. That means only the direct light of the luminaires is taken into account. There is no need to color the walls black. There is no daylight taken into account, and the definition is that only those luminaires are used which are defined to be in use for emergency lighting. Okay, what's about the regular lighting? The checkbox is not ticked, daylight is not used, and dimming values, those luminaires which are in no control group are dimmed to a level of 100%. How can we check it? For example, with this icon. Clicking on it shows us the dimming values of our luminaires in our CAD drawing. And as we can see, the downlights are switched on 100% and the escape route lighting is switched off, because we are in a regular lighting scene. Using the emergency lighting in the CAD view, right click on it, use light scene for CAD, shows us which luminaires are defined as emergency luminaires. Okay, let's do the calculation. And now we have 2 different light scenes. One is the emergency light scene and one is the regular lighting. Both will be calculated now. It takes a few seconds. First light scene is already calculated. The emergency lighting is faster in calculation because only the direct light is taken into account. And now let's have a look. As we can see, the downlighters are on, but the emergency lights are off. We are now in our regular lighting. The appearance of the room is quite nice. Okay. What happens in case of emergency? Right click, use this light scene for the CAD, and now this is what will be the lighting in case that only the emergency luminaires are on. Let's have a look in the outputs to the results. Project, 1 room, but in this room we have 2 different light scenes. That means 2 different conditions of the light. The emergency lighting we already checked, and the regular lighting, let's have a look on the summary. An average light level of 56 lux, which is not enough. So for real lighting design we should take more luminaires or more powerful luminaires to lit the corridor. Let's have once again a look to the luminaire technique. This luminaire arrangement includes the escape route lighting luminaires we used for the first escape route. This is the luminaire. Let's have a look to the technical data. The luminaire picture, logo of the manufacturer, the light scenes and the settings for the emergency lighting. This is very important. It's indicated that these luminaires are in use for emergency lighting. And in addition to that, it is marked that the luminaires are only in use for emergency lighting and not in the regular lighting. Of course, it could be changed. So in case you are using a luminaire with an included battery pack, it would be in use for regular lighting as well as for the emergency lighting. So in that case, you would check here in addition to normal use. If you have a regular lighting and you add a battery pack later on, you could also check it here, and for the emergency lighting case you are able to enter the emergency ballast lumen factor, which includes the loss of light because of the lower power